I want to move now to spirituality. So, do you or does anyone in your family, seeing how far you've come, still believe that your condition is due to spiritual forces?
Well, I from childhood, like Sunday school, I taught in the Bible about how Jesus healed the madman of Gadara. So that scripture makes me know that anything is possible. Like anything at all is possible. God can heal even the worst of conditions. Look at the man, he was sitting in the cemetery, cutting himself. He was like, he was just as if it was a lost cause, but Jesus managed to heal him. So even though like my family members or friends don't come up to me and tell me that, oh, now we believe that you are okay, it was never spiritual. Personally, I believe, like I said last week, even if this thing was done to me spiritually, now it has manifested. So what are the physical steps that I'm taking towards it? What are the spiritual things I'm also doing to fight against it? So on a daily basis, before I start my day, I do my quiet time. I say my daily confessions. I read positive books, listen to positive godly music and all those things to help me to build myself up. Other people with lived experience always come to me and ask me, hey, Sina, what do you do? Why? How come you are so like well and stable? Because we are taking a medicine, but it's not really different. I just tell them these are some of the things that I've added. Like my faith plays a huge role in my road to recovery, because I still believe that God can use anything to heal anybody. He can use my medication, he can use my doctors. Even before I go for my review, I pray that God will use my doctor to help me, because there have been times that I've fought with my doctors. Every doctor I've ever had with, we've had issues because it's a relationship and there will definitely be problems, but at the end of the day, when we are all thriving, we are all happy. So personally, I do believe that there could be a spiritual aspect, there could be also a physical aspect, but I'm really doing all I can simultaneously. There are some people who always say when we get to heaven, they have some questions to ask God, and I don't know whether that one is on my list, because I do believe that the Bible works all things together for our good. And there have been times when I was newly diagnosed, I was so angry at God. I used to tell him, look at my nuclear family. If there was anybody you should have given this sickness to, maybe you should have given it to someone who was unspiritual, so that maybe that person, the sickness would change them and the person would turn towards you. I just felt like God wasn't being fair. But now I understand that a lot of things will not make sense to us now. It will make sense later. It definitely will. It doesn't mean that God gave me this sickness. That one day, I beg to differ. God is a good God, and he will not allow bad things to happen to us. Sometimes some things just happen, and God finds a way to work it all together for our good. So that's what I'm doing. If I never had this mental health condition, I'm telling you, I will not be a friend to the mental health community or the disability community in Ghana. I would have been doing my thing somewhere else. I don't even know what I'll be doing now, but I have found my purpose, my passion, and my calling in sharing my lived experience and in helping so many other people. So I just take it like maybe God appointed me to be a mental health evangelist, spreading the good news of mental health all over the world. And I take my duty very seriously. So I also don't have the answers. I don't know why this had to happen to me, but I do believe that it will make sense. And I always tell people, even if God should heal me, like I will not say that because I've fully recovered, I will not help the mental health community anymore. No, I'll still be there to help and support in any way I can, because I believe God puts me there for a reason. So those who have been diagnosed, who have a lot of questions for God, it will not make sense, but after a while it will make sense. It will make some sense later. It will make sense, and you'll be happy. I'm not happy that I have the condition, but I know there are some doors that have opened up for me. Some doors that open, they'll say, we want somebody with a mental health condition, and it's like, I'm picked because I have this condition. But if I didn't have it, I will never be picked. You see, so it will make sense.
Yeah.
It will make sense.
Now we see us through a mirror darkly, but then we shall see us face to face.
Exactly.
Yes. Cecilia,
Yeah.
so spiritual coping is an important part in the journey to recovery. And in what ways do you use your spirituality in your well-being?
Yeah, I would say it's a very important factor as well, because I always see spirituality in a light of education. You know, when you educate yourself, even reading the Bible and all that, you tend to understand spirituality how it is. You know, when it started, when my family took me to a herbalist, right now, they would not come and tell me that we still have to go to a herbalist, you know, because I feel that education-wise, they are more now educated to see that, well, there could be a medical aspect associated to this. And reading back to what happened when I was a child and all that, it makes sense that something like that could indeed be medical. So it doesn't also mean that I don't serve God anymore. Actually, I have become more closer to God because I tend to pray more than before, even when I didn't live with the condition. Now I pray more because right now you have a responsibility to not just taking care of yourself but your family. So you pray to God for strength, you know, for encouragement, to bless your medication. And as you are educating yourself, reading the Bible every time, it's even pleasurable, you know, you feel confident within yourself that you are at peace with God. So when you are at peace with God, you wouldn't be thinking of other negativity, other things that maybe people might say it is associated with it. So I see spirituality to be actually educating yourself, education. And when you see that in that light, you wouldn't think so much about what people say, as in it be you being cursed. Even my friends, those who said that I was cursed at the initial stages, they don't think so anymore. Because how can someone who has been cursed by God, you know, now is educating people, goes to radio stations, goes to TV programs, you know, they see me here. There was a program we had there called the Time to Change program. It was a program that was targeting combating stigma and discrimination with people living with mental health conditions. And there was a social media aspect to it where we had a huge billboard of us with inscriptions around town. And some of my friends saw it and were like, wow, is that Cecilia? I had phone calls coming from my schoolmates, everybody. And they were like, oh, okay, so now when you're going to a radio station or anything to educate people, let us know so we can watch. So you see, I see it to be just like people say COVID-19 is a blessing in disguise. I see my condition to be a blessing in disguise because out of this condition, I have gained new abilities that I wasn't even aware of, you know, that I have them. So if you think it in that aspect, it wouldn't be as in you someone doing you like Islam said, or someone you know, you wouldn't think about it in that manner. You would rather see it as a blessing in disguise.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think about there is a scripture that says, "He that is in me is greater than
Exactly.
he that is
Exactly.
in the world."
It manifests a lot because there are a lot of things you start to do that you even marvel at yourself. I did this. Yeah. So it's
Right.
true.
Right. So so I know you talked about a spiritual leader who would say, "Don't take your medicine." You
Yes.
know.
The atmosphere we are in, you cannot relapse.
And bang, there was a relapse. Yes. So what would you tell spiritual leaders who are unsupportive of medical explanations for bipolar?
Well, I'll say to them that, you know, there was, when the condition was starting for me, I was in a state where, because my mental health was compromised, I didn't even have the faith to believe that God could help me. I was asking some of my friends that, I don't believe in God. I don't know. It's like my faith is gone. I don't believe it. And it's because my mental health was like compromised. So I would like to tell those spiritual leaders that there are certain things that like can happen to your members that can affect their mental health. And because their mental health is affected, what you expect them to be doing, living as strong Christians, they can't even do them. If someone has been sexually abused and the person comes to your church and is going through so much trauma, you can't expect someone like that to live a very happy and joyful life, living and thanking God every day. The person is hurt by that trauma and abuse and all, and it can start affecting other areas of healthy areas of their life. I always say that like your mental health, when it's affected, it's like a cancer. It starts to spread in different areas of your life. So your health, your work, your schooling, your
friendships.
Your friendships. It just starts going. It's like it's going, moving until you address the problem. It keeps going on and on and on. So they should start realizing that some of the issues that come to them, they need to be very honest and transparent with the people. If you see that this one is an issue that needs a mental health professional, please direct them to go to the hospital for the best treatment. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in God or you are going against God's will. No, God is the one who created these people. He called them into this field. I always say that I don't think I can be a good psychologist or a good psychiatrist, even though I'm a mental health advocate, because sometimes when I listen to some problems, it becomes very like annoying to me sometimes. And sometimes I even tell one of my psychologists that, how come every time I tell her something, she always has an answer? She always has an answer. It's not like she's God or something, but she always knows how to respond, Dr. Rita. She always knows how to respond in the right way. And you can see that this person has been trained for that. So if you are a spiritual leader, you need to realize that some things, if it's beyond you, just refer the person. It makes you, it's like you are rather saving the person. It's like you are that lifeguard who comes immediately to take the person out of the water. Then you call the health professionals to come and perform CPR on that person, so that person will not die. When I say die, not physically die, but mentally and emotionally, you save them a lot. It will cost them. It will cost them so much if you just neglect and say, let's do fasting, prayers. All those things are good, but the person's mental health daily is being affected.
Right.
Yes.
So there is the understanding that we all go through a wall in our Christian journey. And so you aptly describe, when you're not well or you have an illness, physical or mental, or some social problems, financial problems, and so forth, and you hit a wall and in your Christian journey because you have difficulty praying, and God comes alongside you, or an angel, as in a person comes alongside you and holds your hand through the wall. But it's a lot of holding of your hand through this journey, and pastors need to understand that, and to get help for you. I know my namesake Angela Jamina, who did her PhD recently in divinity, and she wrote up her thesis on pastors and their knowledge of mental health, and how they or for some of them the lack of knowledge of mental health, and how they therefore would not be able to help so much, and how important it is for pastors to gain knowledge in mental health and be able to differentiate, when this is illness that can be helped, and from the spiritual forces they keep focusing on, to the detriment of people. Okay, so
I even think that it's high time, like, we start looking at the Bible and realizing that some of the Bible characters we even admire, they had tough times in their mental and emotional journeys. People went through things. Look at someone like Joseph in the Bible. I mean, betrayed by your own brothers, sold into slavery. It's like from one frying pan to fire. It just keeps going. And I wonder, sometimes I ask myself that this person must have been mentally strong to be able to go through all that and gain the kind of success he had in the end. The Bible too doesn't talk about everything that happened, but I know that thing could have had an emotional effect on him, because when he finally saw his brothers, when he became the prime minister, the Bible says that, like, he excused himself and he cried. That should tell you it was painful.
Yes.
It hurt him. So it's high time we start realizing that things happen to people in church, and sometimes people even get offended and make it look like, oh, this person is not loyal. Sometimes there are genuine issues that really, really need to address. And in as much as we are physical, we have a soul, we have a spirit, we also have our mental health too. If me like this, when I'm depressed, I cannot pray. I don't do my quiet time. I don't do my affirmations. I'm like a different type of Christian, because I don't have the mental space to do those things. I don't feel like talking to God.
That's really true. And it's high time, like, pastors also see mental health conditions as any other chronic illness. Or I'm not sure if someone should come to your church with something like someone who has malaria, you say that, sit down and let me pray for you for the malaria to go. I'm not sure a pastor will do that. They will definitely advise you to take some medication. Aside praying, you take some medication. That's how I think they should also see mental health as any other condition that needs action to be taken to be cured. Even Naaman in the Bible, he didn't really know much about God. Okay, but when he had these things on him, he was told to take action. So he traveled to somewhere river to bathe in the river. So we have to take action, towards everything
he
that
even
we
had
do.
to go in 7 times.
Exactly.
So
it was a prescription.
Exactly. It was a prescription. That's the word.
There
You
was a
see,
prescription.
he didn't just sit down and said, "Okay, now because you've told me about God, then I'll pray to God to heal me,
And that will be it,
miraculously."
yes.
No, he took action. The same way pastors should see that these things also, there are actions that needs to be taken so that the person can get well. Because if you keep saying you are praying and someone has malaria and you keep saying you are praying for the person so that God miraculously heals the person, the person might die out of it, because malaria kills.
Yes,
The
indeed.
same way mental health conditions, when they are not taken care of with immediate effect, it can escalate.
Yes.
And at a highest risk, one can take his or her life.
Yes.
And when you are severely depressed, you become suicidal. And I've gone through that so many times. So if it is not taken care of immediately, you might think maybe it's in a short term, but definitely if they are, it will affect the person in the long term.
Yes.
And they also have to understand that healing is in stages. There are some people, we pray for them, instant healing. Sometimes healing is also gradual. It will take some time. So you don't expect what worked for Cecilia. Cecilia came to you with bipolar disorder. You prayed for her and she's healed. You don't expect that to happen to you. We all want the same thing, but it's different for everybody. There are people who have gone to churches, they've been healed of sicknesses that killed people.
Yes.
It's you just wouldn't understand some of the things. So they shouldn't be doing one size fits all. It's a mental health condition. All mental health conditions, they can be cured instantly and all that, and not take proper action. Someone said when your car is spoiled, you take it to where? The mechanic. You don't take it to the baker. You don't take it to the baker. Yeah.
So now I want to kind of move into medication. And we have only 5 minutes, so I'll just ask one question or two. The first one is, what is the average cost of medication each month to you?
We are looking at above 100 cedis.
Above 100 cedis a month.
And you know, things have also gone up, so it will be changing. Above 100 cedis a month.
Yes. Okay. For you as well, Cecilia.
Yeah, and
So when you say above 100, you're thinking 150?
Yes, above 150. We are hitting like almost 200 cedis. Yeah, for mood stabilizers and antipsychotics. And I take in a lot of mood stabilizers according to my doctor's prescription. Sometimes when I compare the amount I take with my other friends who also have bipolar disorder, whenever I mention that I'm taking like 1,200 milligrams a day, they are really surprised. But that's what works for me. So I'm not bothered about other people's prescription. That's what works for me, and I'm okay with it. There was a time Cecilia told me about a certain medication which I have been taking for years and I've been fine. She took it and she had nose bleeding. Yeah. So I've just realized that, look, we are all on a very unique journey. Our road to recovery is very different, but it's expensive. It's expensive. Yeah, and we are not even like on health insurance, so that's why ours is expensive.
Yes.
But there are some people who are on health insurance who say that it's affordable for them.
On health insurance.
Yes, yeah. But as we know, not all the medications are on the health insurance.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and sometimes some can cost so much as a tab, like one tab costing as high as 5 Ghana cedis. Yes, so imagine you're supposed to take maybe 2 tabs a day, maybe morning and evening. If you calculate, and everybody takes different diagnoses. Yeah, so it goes high. Mine, for instance, when I was buying, it was 1 tab was 5 cedis, but right now, because the dosages have been reduced, I spend around 100 cedis. You get it? Yeah. So it is different, but averagely, it's like you can say above 100 cedis, like Esinam said. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So all in all, you have taken something that could have sunk you. And made it float you, you know, and taking the courage to speak about it and help others. So we just look at your courage and think, wow.
It's by God's grace.
You have both, you're just
God is our strength.
so inspiring, you know.
That's actually the picture I want to put out there.
Yes,
for people to see that. Well, if you are being diagnosed with a mental health condition, it's not a death sentence.
It's not.
Come on, girl. Come on, guy. Step up your game, and you will be like everybody else. Nobody will even know that there's something wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So we are happy that picture is moving out there.
It's coming.
We want to paint something else,
right?
Because the what we know about when we hear the word mental, it's about someone on the streets.
Yes.
So if we paint a better picture, when people go for review, they have in mind that one day I will not be on the streets. But if they have a bad picture as they are sitting there, they are just thinking about when they are going to be on the streets. And that's what we don't want. We want a better narrative.
Right. Well, where should people go for help, in your experience?
The hospital. The hospital is. I think it's better. See a mental health professional, psychologist, psychiatrist, community psychiatric nurses, wherever you are, they are available. Yes, try and get help as soon as possible. Because the more you delay, the more chronic the sickness, the illness becomes. The more it evolves, then you realize that. I have an uncle who is on the streets right now due to substance and drug abuse, and my mother is always saying, "Oh, if we had money, because they sent him to rehab once and he got better, but later on, because of financial issues, he went back. So, I don't think he would have reached that level if they had all the resources available. So I always tell people that, look, don't waste time. Every time, like every second
Precious, yeah.
is important. Me like this, I don't think I'll be sitting here today if I hadn't gotten the help that I had. I also didn't accept the treatment. I'm not saying accept your diagnosis as a death sentence. Accept your diagnosis as something that I'm going to work on and live a very happy and fulfilled life. And just know that things will get better. You'll be so proud of yourself. You look back and say, oh, I've really, really come far. And one of my doctors told me that there are actually been people that have done so well on their treatments, people who had bipolar disorder. And after a while, after some time, they decided to take them off their medication. You see, so I believe that there's hope. Yes, there's hope. So you shouldn't think that it's a death sentence. No, you can still be happy and work and
and something I think people are not much aware. Just a quick one that there are, aside the psychiatric hospital, if maybe you feel the stigma is too high for you to visit the psychiatric hospital, each hospitals that we have, both the public hospital, especially the public hospitals, when you go in there, sometimes people are unaware of it. There are psychiatric units. Even sometimes they are small, not like main units that we have. They are small, but they are there. The professionals are there. So just ask of it. Sometimes they call it psychiatric units or mental health units. When you go, Lekma, there is one. Mamobi, there is one. So when you go, just ask of it.
You go to the reception. Somebody will attend to you.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right. There's one in Korle-Bu. There's one in Ofori-Atta. There's one in the Ho General Hospital. I think there may be one in Wa General Hospital. In Sekondi Takrady as well. Trying to remember where these units are. There are about 6 of them spread out. But you are right. There may be in the district hospital, doctors are trained to diagnose at least and to begin treatment. And then if they have difficulty with the treatment, they might refer you to a specialist. So you are absolutely right. Go get some help. The help is there. So let me thank you both, Esina and Cecilia, for joining us again today. We've learned so much from your lived experience, and we hope that we'll come across you again on this journey and learn from you again the many things that you are meeting on your journey.
You're always welcome.
Thank you. So listeners, thank you so much. It's been another episode of Beautiful Minds, and we'll see you next week. Good night.